Hello. So today we're going to talk about the power of intentional living. And it's really about stepping off autopilot and to be more intentional in your life, in your career, in every aspect of your life. So my name is Peggy van der Plassche. This podcast is named The Microdose Diet. And we talk about all things health, mental health, personal development, professional development, because all of that is linked. And that is very much the topic of being intentional in your life. So think about it. You're on a treadmill, you're running at full speed day after day, but you're barely stopping to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And that treadmill is really the autopilot mode that most of us are on. And this is very simple for your brain. Doing over and over the same thing consumes less energy. So your brain loves autopilot. It wants you to stay on autopilot because being intentional is very tiring. You have to put a lot of focus on it, which means you have to use a lot of energy. So if you want to step off this autopilot, you're going to have to be purposeful because your brain doesn't want that. It is too tiring for you. So what is the goal of being intentional? What if you could stop running for a moment, look around, and actually choose a path that feels meaningful, authentic, and alive? And that really is the power of intentional living. So, what does it mean to be intentional? Well, it's really about living on purpose. It is about choosing your actions, your words, your energy, rather than being like swept along by external pressures, external habits, things that usually you have outgrown on top of that. So it is not about perfection, it is about presence. You know what it means to be present. You've been in the flow in the past, and that is really about presence. I'm sure you go to networking event and you're talking with someone, you have no idea 5 minutes after what you even discuss about because you are not present. And most of our lives, we live it that way. And we actually design our lives that way. And then we wonder why the year went by so fast and what have we done in the last 10 years. So why do you want to be intentional? Exactly for that. So you can choose, you own your own story. It is not something that is written by others for you or that are written by the momentum. You really want to transform the way you experience life. You feel empowered because you are making choices. Again, you're not following the momentum, the autopilot. You really experience life with the good and the bad. That also means feeling more. And you experience life fully rather than going through the motions we tend to all go through. So what does it take for you to be intentional? So the first step is being present. I just mentioned that. So being present means that you're stepping out of your autopilot. It is not easy. It really requires feeling the emotions that we'd rather avoid. The shame, the sadness, the anger, and all these emotions, we put great protection mechanisms around us in order to not feel them. So being present is going to mean dismantling this protection mechanism in order to be more authentic and be more present. The second is about cultivating self-awareness. So ask yourself, what do you truly want? What do you behave this way? Or would you rather behave? And self-awareness, you can look at it as the flashlight. That's really the flashlight that helps you navigate the dark corners of your habits and of your belief. Very important to have self-awareness in order to be able to be present. Otherwise, you're not going to understand what are these protection mechanisms I put in place. Why do I always do the same thing? You won't be able to understand that. So you need to do some analysis on yourself. And that's great because you're the most important topic and the most interesting topic there is. So that's fabulous. And the third step is a tough one as well, they're all very tough, is radical honesty and responsibility. So it is a difficult part, especially I feel like right now, and maybe it's North America compared to Europe, or it's 2025 compared to 2000 or before, is that you're going to have to own your choices. It's not someone else's fault. It's you are responsible, which is actually very empowering when you think about it versus thinking the world has to change around me for me to get what I want. So to live intentionally, you must release conditioning. You need to heal your emotional wounds. You have to detox your mind. I mean, you really have to do the work of removing this limiting belief. You need to strip away what isn't truly you to make space for you, your authentic self, your aligned decisions. So it's really being present, being intentional requires a lot of work to remove the conditioning. But it's a work that is totally worth it because otherwise you're not really experiencing life. First, you're not experiencing your life, you're experiencing others' conditioning. But anyway, you always have this pan of glass between you and the external world. So it is absolutely, absolutely worth it. And it's a work that is never finished because so many layers to remove. So, but it's gonna bring you great gifts. And intentionality is really about freedom. Is the key to empowerment, to fulfillment, but also to real connection with yourself and with others. So imagine starting your day with not a to-do list per se, but with an intention. So maybe it's going to be, I will stay calm during, this day that I know is intense, or I will find evidence of my success and my progress. So these are very intentional behaviors. Imagine every interaction you can have being purposeful. Maybe at work, the intention will be, it will be a win-win exchange. Imagine setting an intention, and that's very silly, but that's something very powerful to bring you back to the present moment. But every time you take a mean of transportation, it's a car, it's an airplane, it's your bike, it's the subway, it doesn't matter. I will arrive safely, efficiently, and pleasantly. And all this intention allows you to get off the autopilot because you're in the moment, you're present, you know what you want from this moment. And the last one I mentioned, that's what I do when I get in my car. I always think, okay, I will get there fast and safe. And that's really something every time it reminds you that you're not just a dumb doing empty thing. You're doing something for a reason. I'm going from point A to point B. What do I want? Well, I want to arrive there safely and fast. And it's the same thing for everything. And I would say this is the goal, to be intentional for everything. So how do you really start living intentionally? And it's baby steps, like it's not going to be overnight. So first, pick one new habit. And maybe it's every morning you jot down your intention for the day. As I said, it is not a to-do list. An intention can be, I will feel calm and focused today. I will look for opportunities to grow, whatever your intention might be, but it is not a to-do list. Another way to start living intentionally, which I like, is reflect on your wins. We always tend to look at what we didn't do well. Actually, it's way better to look at what we did well. So at night, you can take 5 minutes and think about your day, and you identify 3 wins. They don't have to be like earth-shattering wins. They can be big, they can be small. But what matters is to notice what went right and that was aligned with your intention, because it also gives your brain a direction to look for. So it's better to give him a direction versus none, because if it has no direction, it's going to bring you in a path that is the same path you've always been in, and that might not be what you want. So what's very important in the context of being more intentional, but I would say for everything, is that it's about progress, not perfection. But also practice makes perfect. So becoming intentional really is a journey. You won't get it perfect every day. That's okay. Actually, you will probably never get it perfect. I think maybe only the Dalai Lama and maybe Eckhart Tolle are able to be intentional every minute of the day. You can just start with, can you be intentional 5% and then 10% and then 15%? You think it's nothing, but I can tell you it's going to really make a huge difference in your life if you start giving yourself this opportunity actually to be more alive and to experience life more. And being intentional is exactly what it is. So what is your intention for today? We don't have to wait. You can just start right now. Thank you so much for listening. You can learn more about me and my process on the microdosediet.com. It's my website. I also have products, microdosing, that are with psychedelic or without psychedelic, if you're interested in having that help in order to calm your body and be more present. I think it's extremely helpful because on your own, I find it a bit difficult to be able to calm your body and recenter. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and talk to you very soon. Bye.